All right, boys. I gotta be real with you for a little bit. Just a few minutes. I gotta be real with the boys for a little bit, all right? I got Roshan, Mackie, and Walter, a.k.a. Roche, Mackie, and Walrus. All right, so basically what's going to go down is I'm going to start talking to you guys about feminism and women's rights, mainly because I see some common things in between with all three of you that kind of clash with, like, the feminist movement and the women's rights movement that you guys all kind of have in common right now. It's directed towards you guys because you all have no sisters, only brothers. Your father is the main source of income, and the only woman really in your life is your mother. So I'm going to start covering information based on all that right now. Okay, boys, to jump right in, basically, we're going to be talking about feminism and why it's important to you guys and why even, like, the smallest things you do affect, like, the larger idea of feminism as a whole. Simply because with winter break approaching, we know that, like, everybody's going to be coming together, all the same girls, all the same guys, everybody's going to be in a group together, like, pretty much every day. And something that reoccurs almost every time we hang out with a lot of the girls is that you guys just begin talking about, like how women aren't equal and, like, all this stuff, and, like, you say sexist comments, and you just, like, you don't even realize what you're saying until, like, the girls finally call you out for it. And you can see in their faces and their facial expressions and body language that they clearly don't agree with what you're saying. And this is, like, really bad because it's going to create, like, a barrier between us and, like, the girls, and it's just not going to be a good, like, combo to have at all times. So, like, basically, essentially, I'm going to be laying out all the facts and everything that I found about my research. I'm going to be telling you why a lot of your ideas are wrong and, like, why you guys kind of need to, like, rethink the way you go about things. So basically some stuff I want to bring up to you guys is just the fact that some of the things you say you may not really fully comprehend or understand, like, the bigger underlying meaning to it, such as, like, when you joke about, like, using the word rape, or, like, you joke about, like, women not being equal or whatever. Like, it's really, like, a bad thing in the feminist community because they are trying to, like, end that rape culture idea where, like, men basically can get away with anything if there's not, like, visible proof that it happened. And, like, essentially what, like, we just need to, like, move past a lot of these just, like, degrading jokes that we use, because there are literally basic human rights that are technically not covering women still nowadays in almost 2018. And this is, like, a huge problem because without, like, basic human rights, like, women technically aren't equal, and, like, we need to fix that as soon as possible. The UN is working towards that right now, but, like, we still need to, like, fix that shit. So there's, like, a bunch of movements going on, obviously, worldwide that you see, like, on a daily basis about, like, women's rights movements, feminist movements, and all that stuff, but, like, they're not getting, like, the respect and the attention they need simply because, like, people, like, as much as I hate to say it, like, you clowns, you guys just keep pushing stuff and you just don't let things go, and, like, you just keep pushing because you think you're right when in reality you're not. So, like, feminism started, like, decades ago, and it's still going today because they're still not equal. It started with, like, the women's rights movement for suffrage, literally just the right to vote, and then now from there we still don't have equal rights between men and women. Now, with this next infographic, you can see clearly that in the United States, men and women still aren't even making equal wages, even though they're doing the same exact job. The closest they can get is in Washington, D.C., where they make only 91% of what men make. But then in states like Louisiana, they only make 66% of what a man makes, which I just don't even understand how that can't be outlawed yet, where men and women can not make the same amount of money for doing the exact same job. Next, we're going to see here women in their 50s earning 20% less than men. That literally just shows that not only are women making less, but as they get older, they make even more, or even less than they already were making than men. So it just proves right there, then and there, that, like, women are still not as equal to men no matter what job they're doing. This next infographic is just showing that it's showing that it's very clear that, like, men have an easier way to get to a finish line than a woman. The woman has to fight more. Like, as you can see, she's got a ball and chain around her ankle. She's got a bunch of obstacles she's got to get through, while the man just has a couple, like, hurdles he's got to get over, and he'll be at the finish line and be at the top of the game, while a woman has to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And that's, like, the whole point of the feminist movement, is that they want to remove all these barriers and these obstacles so that it's equal all the way through to the finish line. And the finish line being just equal rights. Like, as of right now, this infographic is literally just showing that no matter, like, which way you put it, men and women are still not equal, as long as there's, like, not laws enacted to change it. This next infographic is just showing the United Kingdom's attitudes on feminism. As you can see, like, a lot of them are opposed or believe in equality but not a feminist, because they don't really understand what a feminist is, and, like, you can see that on there. There's even a portion that don't understand. And feminism is, like, people have portrayed as just this, like, big idea where, like, they have absolutely no, like women are, like, all powerful and they are better than men and all this stuff, when in reality that's just the media portraying it like that. They're literally just trying to fight for equal rights that the men already have, and they just want to have the exact same rights. The definition of feminism is literally the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. They're literally just advocating to be equal, and people portray them as, like, these heathens that are just out here just trying to, like, prove that women are better than men, and, like, that's because the media completely twists how things are. Like, in reality, feminism is a huge movement that needs more support, because the problems it faces are ridiculous. Just the simple fact that women have basic human rights that aren't covered still in the United Nations is absolutely ridiculous. Like, they cannot do, like, anything to, like, really help themselves like that. The UN just has to, like, figure it out and, like, solve that problem as soon as possible. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question. I want to know, like, what would you feel like if it was you? What if you were in the women's shoes? Instead of men being on top of women, it was women on top of men. And the society was not patriarchal, it was matriarchal. So women were, like, the sole, like, they made more than men, they do more things than men, less obstacles, all that stuff. What would you do in that situation to fix it? You do the exact same thing, and it'd be called a meninist movement, and it would just become the exact same situation. And boys, essentially my whole point, reasoning behind this is just, like, I want you guys to really, like, think about things before you say them, rethink things, like, when you come into, like, a situation where there's girls or, like, women or anything, or, like, when you see stuff about feminism, instead of just bashing it right away, try to support it instead, and just, like, you don't have to say your opinion, but you can just, like, give it, like, a like or a thumbs up or share it or whatever. They just need, like, the little bit amounts of support just to, like, get the movement a little further on. And I just want you guys to, like, what I want you guys to get out of this presentation is to just literally be able to, like, sit back and think, can I change my views, or at least impact them to rethink, like, ideas and my opinions on women? That's all I want. Because going into this, I will admit, I didn't really, like, have much support for the feminist movement, because I honestly didn't really, like, think it was that big of a problem. But then, like, the more I did my research, the more I looked into it, the more I found out that there's so many things that women are just, like, getting gypped out of. Like, in the U.S., we think it's bad because we don't have equal pay, but in other countries, they literally, women have damn near zero rights, and you guys see that, like, on the news and all that stuff. It's, like, a huge deal when women in, like, Saudi Arabia or whatever get to show, like, more than just, like, their eyes. Like, if we can get the whole world on this movement to, like, completely change and be, like, better as one, and, like, live amongst each other as complete equals, the world would be a greater place, and that's all I want out of you guys. Just want to thank you boys for sitting down and listening to the little info movie I just gave you guys, and I hope it really makes an impact in your life and you rethink a lot of things that you otherwise wouldn't have. Good luck in your endeavors, and I wish you all the best. See you later, you freaking clowns.